There in Switzerland, we're still in the orphanages. Food rationing was in full force in Germany. Food rationing. You needed tickets to get food on a limited basis, and we were starving. When we ultimately left Germany, they looked at me and says, look at this kid. Skin and bones. I was what they call unterernährt. That's in English, this means undernourished, lack of food. Anyway, we had to continue to struggle. Emmerich, in the meanwhile, and my mother were nearing the end of the 6-month stay. They had to get out. Where could they go? You know, money was limited. To this day, I don't know how he made his compensation, how he managed all that. Because my mother had a good job at the time. She worked at one of the biggest department stores in Frankfurt by the name of Tietz, T-I-E-T-Z, Tietz Kaufhaus Tietz, which was also Jewish owned, which was also ransacked, and was located on Frankfurt's what you would call Main Street. In German they call Die Zeil, D-I-E, one word, Zeil, spelled Z-E-I-L. I remember the word. Die Zeil was the Hauptstraße, the main street in Frankfurt, where most of the business were located, including my uncle's businesses, who were all destroyed, looted and destroyed. My Mishpucha, relatives. It's another story in itself. So they had a choice. They could go to Argentina, which accepted escapees or immigrants or political prisoners, whatever you want to call them. They took anybody. And Shanghai, China was another one. That's the only choice they could have. For practical reasons, it now occurred to me he studied Chinese. And that's where they chose Shanghai. And he was engaged by the Chiang Kai-shek government at that time. He was the president of China at that time period, 1938, 39, 40. So they got engaged employment-wise in Shanghai. We're still in Frankfurt. Don't know what to do. Don't know what to do. Lo and behold, 1938, Japan bombed Shanghai. Japan, Germany, and Italy had since become what they call the Axis. Italy fought in the Mediterranean, Middle East area. Germany wanted to conquer Europe, and Japan, as you know, wanted to occupy the whole Pacific. That was the aim. That's why Japan invaded all these small countries and occupied them. And then they went on and on. As the Japanese finally invaded China, they again, Emmerich and mother had to get out of there. PDQ, I mean, pretty fast. I don't know how, when and where, how they got on the last ship, German cruise ship, called, you can look this up, Scharnhorst. Scharnhorst is the name of the ship. They got on the ship, bound for Manila, as a last resort. The Philippines was accepting refugees. Manila, the Philippines. Anyway, they wound up in the Philippines, 1938. The China stay was pretty short because of the Jap invasion. They wound up in Manila, the Philippines. Meanwhile, we're still in the orphanage, and now it's 1939. Somehow, don't ask me how, Emmerich planned to do farming on the island of Mindanao, which is the biggest island in the Philippines and the most fertile island. The soil is like fertilizer. So, long story short, they wound up going to Mindanao. Davao City is the capital, and that's where they stayed. But before that, before they went to Mindanao, our grandma in New York, in Frankfurt, her name was Paula Wertheimer. Paula Wertheimer, mother's mother. She was very helpful in getting us out of Germany, since mother asked the German government for permission to let us kids come to the Philippines. And that took some doing with the German politicians. Anyway, Grandma was very influential. She was wealthy before they cleaned her out. But she managed to get us the necessary papers and permits and what have you. I still have samples of it. What they would give you is called, not a passport, but it's called a Kinderausweis. It's a children's passport release. I don't know what you would interpret it, but in German it's called Kinderausweis. Look it up in a dictionary. We got the paper, we got everything cleared. I personally had to do a lot of running around to different bureaus and offices to get the papers collected, what have you. I was 13 years old. The final result was we were able to depart Germany March 20th, 1939. I'll never forget the date. March 20th, 1939. I was 13. Ernie was 14. Fred was junior. He was 4 years younger. She got us on the train bound for Genoa. That's Italy, that's a port in Italy where we were supposed to get a ship to go to the Philippines, namely to Manila, the capital. We caught the train with a lot of sorrow, Believe me, it was awful. The three of us alone, no guardian, on a high-speed train to Genoa. It was a German train which only went up to the Brenner Pass, which is the border between Germany and Switzerland. After, I don't know how many days it took to get there, but we got to the German border, the Brenner Pass by Switzerland. And Grandma had given us, sent with the train, a huge trunk with items for Mother, sort of inheritance stuff, which was sent with the train with us to Genoa, hopefully. And anyway, we get to the border. This was at night. The train stopped. We wondered why the train would stop. But it was the border between Germany and Switzerland. So the German border police came through the train and checked all the passengers and came to us and asked, I was always the spokesman. I should say it in German, but you wouldn't understand. And the tone, like in French they say, c'est le ton qui fait la musique. It is how you talk. It's how you're being understood. And this guy was screaming. Habt ihr Gepäck dabei? You know, this means, do you have any luggage? That's how he spoke. I said, yes, we have a trunk in the train for mother. Ja, wo sind die Papiere? Where are your documents? I showed him the documents. He looked at it. There's two of them, not just him. Ja, der geht nicht mit. Der geht nicht mit. That trunk stays here, doesn't go with you. I said, why? Don't ask. Don't ask. Swastika, you know, the helmet, bastard. So we left the train without the luggage, except what we had, hand luggage. And we switched to the Swiss train at the border, which was an electric train. That train, what a difference, what another world, took us to Genoa, Italy, to board the ship. Grandma had bought the tickets for us on that ship. The name of the ship was Conte Biancamano. In English it's called White Hand. Conte Biancamano is a big passenger ship. She boarded us in second class. She had the money if she could afford it. We got aboard ship without a guardian. I was the guardian, so to speak, because my two brothers were very shy, and Fred was too young and Ernie didn't bother much. So I was the lead guy. We boarded the ship, and our guardian were the waiters. They looked after us, believe it or not. 3 young kids. They gave us cookies and pastry, whatever we wanted. They were very nice. Italians. Didn't speak a word of Italian. And they didn't speak German either. So communication was pretty complicated. But we managed, we muddled through 21 days from Genoa to Manila, the Philippines. 21 days. I'll never forget it. We arrived in Manila and Mother was waiting for us there. The Philippines. Who in the world would know the Philippines? The tropics, different clothing, hot, humid. From Germany to this climate, you can imagine. Anyway, we got off the ship and we stayed in Davao City, which is the capital of Mindanao, for a little while. I don't know how long. Emmerich wasn't there, so meanwhile he called himself Henry instead of Otto. So I says, where's Otto? Oh, he's in the farm. In the farm? I thought I'm going to school here, international school, to continue my education. His mother said, no, you can't do it. Henry's starting a farm in the jungle. in the jungle. Make a long story short, we got on a native bus. It was a truck with wooden benches on, and that was it. That was a bus. And we drove probably 2 or 3 hours on a rough road into the jungle. What turned out later, he was planning to do a farm because of the fertile soil in Mindanao, which is logical. But why a farm? Who's going to do the farming? We are the kids. We came to a clearing after 2.5 hours. He stopped off at the shop, Chinese store, whatever it was, and picked up some foodstuffs, mostly canned stuff, to take into the jungle. It's a horror story. Horror story. We came upon a clearing in the jungle, small clearing. Bamboo growth all over the place. Bamboo, bamboo, bamboo. And wild papaya trees. I can't name it all. Banana trees. This was a native shack, so to speak, made of bamboo and wood. One room affair. That was our home to be. It was. That was I thought was my school.